Two things can be true. One, Texas Tech is the best team in the Big 12. Two, Utah's not near as good as you told me they were. This is an emergency Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Raider power. This is, and it's a small sample size, I know, but I think we're seeing the best team in Texas Tech history. This is a defense that has never graced Lubbock. This is a defense that has never graced West Texas, and right now it is all West Texas. Salt Lake City, 34-10 was West Texas on Saturday. That was BTA, belt to ass, as they say. And not only did Texas Tech win by 24 points on the road, when I was told that the road environment was so bad, that the road environment was so bad for Texas Tech because it was so good for Utah that the Utes could never lose at home. This is a different team. They have Devon Dampier at quarterback, and he's going to be so good. Can I show you the box score? Texas Tech just beat you with their backup quarterback, who looked better than the starting quarterback. And if Baron Morton can't come back for a couple weeks, Will Hammond had 2 touchdown passes, 13 for 16, by the way, a 10.5 yard average per pass. Baron Morton, 7.5 yards per pass, 12 for 19. That's worse than 13 for 16. 142. I'm not saying Baron Morton's bad here. I'm just saying you have a quarterback who's possibly just as good behind him in Will Hammond. A quarterback coming behind him that Utah certainly couldn't stop. And for Utah, Devon Dampier, say it with me, was not good. You told me pregame, you told me to go put $100 on Devon Dampier Heisman. He looked bad. Even when his guys were open, he looked bad. His offensive line did not look as elite as you told me it was going to be. They waxed poetic, Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, about how Kyle Whittingham says this is his best offensive line he's ever had at Utah. If that's the case, they just got worn down and bullied 34-10. BYU won today. Iowa State won today. TCU won today. A lot of Big 12 teams looked across their television screens and said, oh, Utah's not as good as I thought. You could say that, yeah, well, Utah's defense is really good. And Utah's defense, let me tell you, for 3/4 of this game was elite. But how at altitude? This is another big question. How at altitude did you just get whooped by Texas Tech? I was also told pregame, I don't know if those boys from Lubbock can come. I think it may have been Desmond Howard on game day. Everybody on game day picked Utah. Said, I don't know if those boys from Lubbock can go to altitude here in Utah and be able to knock off the Utes. They're going to wear down. They're going to need oxygen. There's just no way. 34-10. How's the tune of that? And not to mention, Texas Tech, you're not perfect. Can I go for a second here? If I'm BYU, I'm looking at this game. I always say looking at this game and saying, shoot, Texas Tech is good. But also, you've got to fix some stuff. There were areas where Joey McGuire kind of looked lost. Why are we still clapping the amount of penalties? 14 penalties for 122 yards. And Utah fans will say, oh, we got screwed by the refs, and oh, they gave us bad spots, and oh, they missed some holdings. You had 2 penalties called against the Utes. 2 penalties. Texas Tech, 14 for 122 yards. 2 turnovers. And both of those from Baron Morton, I don't think were his fault. In each of those scenarios, it's like the wide receiver kind of gifted the ball to Utah. But in this matchup, Texas Tech showed in areas that it is fallible, that Texas Tech is not perfect. And part of that, I mean, I hope this team is locked in, tapped in, doing log rolls for every yard that they gave up in penalties this week against Utah. This game could have been, understand, due to those penalties and turnovers, this game could have been 45-10. There's not a world, I'm looking at statistically, Texas Tech was 9 for 17 on 3rd down. Almost doubled up Utah in yardage. Tech was 484 in the yardage category. Utah was 263. Passing, Utah 162 yards to Texas Tech's 311. I told you Texas Tech would win this game. I told you Texas Tech would win this game. I tried. I hope you put money on it. I did. Utah 4 for 16 on 3rd and 4th down. I'm telling you, Texas Tech is a few penalties away. Cleaning up the penalties, cleaning up the false start. Stop clapping. Go on a silent count when you can't hear. And credit to Utah for a great atmosphere at Rice-Eccles Stadium today. Might as well call it Bryce-Eccles Stadium. You can rename it. Chris Level, who said that Texas Tech might go in there and spank or whoop or wallop Utah, was correct. That's exactly what the Tech Raiders did. This is a couple penalties away from Texas Tech winning 45-10 on the road. The Utes, Kyle Whittingham has yet to win a Big 12 game at home. And that's who I was supposed to be scared of. Tech looked dominant. Again, fallible, not perfect, but altogether dominant. Now, Utah has to go on the road against West Virginia, play Arizona State, and that coveted game against BYU on October 18th. That one's big. I think Utah still deserves to be a top 25 team. I think Utah still wins at West Virginia. They still win at home, their first home Big 12 victory against Arizona State. And now the Holy War just got so much more massive. And the week after the Holy War, the Texas Tech Red Raiders face BYU. Their upcoming schedule. Look at this. Can I read you their final scores so far this year? 67-7, 62-14, 45-14. 34-10. As the opponents have gotten better, Texas Tech has looked more and more elite. At Houston's not easy. Kansas at home, not easy. At Arizona State, certainly not easy, and they could sleep through the Oklahoma State game. But what I saw from a physicality standpoint, and namely if Texas Tech cleans up the turnovers, the Red Raiders are the best team in the Big 12. The Red Raiders might not lose a game this season. Last year, after the Utah and Oklahoma State game, we said, did we just see the two best teams in the conference play? And the answer was certainly no. Neither of them made bowl games. This is different. Utah's season is not over. They could walk into that game against BYU undefeated. They probably will walk into the game against BYU undefeated. For Texas Tech, their season's just begun. This is a college football playoff team, whether or not they win it in Arlington. And if they have a rematch in Arlington, I think Texas Tech wins the game by more than they did today. Apparently, no matter who's at quarterback. Houston on the road, again, that's going to be tough. Like tough as in Tech wins it 21-13. Kansas at home is tough. Tough as in Tech wins it 34-20. Arizona State on the road, kind of the same thing. 34-20. Oklahoma State, they could beat them 55-0 at halftime if they wanted to. Then on the road at Kansas State, and then playing BYU at home. And on the road against Kansas State's an easy win. That BYU game, I think, just got a whole lot bigger. That's kind of where my crash course sits right here, because these teams both play BYU. For TCU, for Iowa State, Texas Tech, BYU, that's the square top four for me in the Big 12 right now. I think Utah's looking at that 5, 6, 7 spot. They didn't look like they looked like Houston has looked. And Houston's looked pretty good for what Houston was expected to be. That's not what Utah wanted to be. They didn't want to be pretty good for what Houston was expected to be. They didn't want to be in that category with the Cougars, but they are. I'm not going to sell all the way. I'm not going to sell all the way for Utah, but I'm going to buy all the way for Texas Tech after this game. Sign me up for Joey McGuire and the Red Raiders, who are my preseason Big 12 champions. There's a reason I have them in Arlington. There's a reason they're going to Arlington. Today, I think it helps showcase that. Utah's still an 8 or 9 win team. Their year's not over, but Devon Dampier didn't look good. He looked like DeQuan Finn. He looked like DeQuan Finn. I tried to tell you. We're a quarterback away. Yeah, he's really good at New Mexico. But when you're playing Texas Tech, well, they bought that roster. They can. You can too. You're telling me Utah doesn't have any rich donors? Put your money up, not your funny up. Texas Tech wins. Don't go anywhere. Hey, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I went, and I told FanDuel, I said, FanDuel, hey, I would love to put $100 on Texas Tech to win. They said, we'll give you $145 if it hits, and it did. The NFL season and college football season are both here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So that's what I did. I went and I used my bonus bets, $100, bam, Texas Tech. They win. I get the money instantly. Quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Saturday or Sunday. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. You place that $5 bet with FanDuel, and if it hits, you get $300 in bonus bets. All of that and more. Do it today with FanDuel. Today's show is also brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home. Whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows you by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades, they're the places that bring people together. There's a local bar in Savannah, Georgia called Island Daiquiri, and I love it very much. Comes alive every Sunday during football season, every Saturday night during football season as well. That's the kind of place that I love to be in, a little dive bar like Island Daiquiri on Wellington Island in Savannah, Georgia. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. Go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. Square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood with Square. Yep. I had Texas Tech money line. I tried to tell you. Hope you won money. This has been It Always Will Be. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.